Part 2, 14.3 James Boxford. So now I'll be describing my warm-up. So when my client arrives, I'll introduce myself to my client, and then I'll ask her if she has any injury problems that she has gained within the last 24 hours. And I'll also ask all the information that I gained in her PARQ and lifestyle questionnaire is correct and up to date. And I'll act in a professional manner to ensure that my client doesn't become embarrassed, and I will also ensure that everything that is done today is confidential, like results gained if anything has changed, and just to ensure her that I will be, and just run her through what I'll be doing. Next, I will be beginning the warm-up. So I've gone for the badminton warm-up, but I've used the quarters as the service boxes. So there'll be a gentle jog around the first quarter of the court. So I'll be round it twice. There'll be dynamic stretching in the legs in the second quarter. So this will be hamstring stretches, quadricep stretches, gastrocnemius stretches, open the gate, close the gate for the groin stretches. In the third quarter, it will be a passing to me, teammate. I will be used as the teammate here. It'll be passing to teammate in the third quarter across the two. And this will be just chest passing. This is done just so it almost stimulates a drill, so it could be done before a real warm-up for a netball game. That's what I identified this to be. And then there'll be a few more dynamic stretches in the legs. The main content. My first activity will be the hurdles. My client will jump forward 3 times and then go sideways 3 times, then backwards for 3 reps. The line of the hurdles will be 7 hurdles long. And this becomes harder each time because they're going to have to do a different jump. And this helps improve something called progressive overload. My next drill will be the ladders. My client will put 2 feet in each ladder and go forwards 3 times. My client will then go backwards in each ladder 3 times. The final ladder drill will be done with a netball. She'll go sideways with 2 feet in each hurdle, pick up the netball, do a chest pass into the wall, and catch the chest pass into the wall, catch it, put it down, then go to the other side. There will also be another drill if my session is running too quickly, and this will be my adaptation. What I'll do is it will be the forward ladder again, forward, receive a chest pass catch from me passing it to her. She then chest passes it back, and then goes backwards in the ladder with 2 feet in each. Then it will be a received pass and then a long pass, and that will be repeated 3 times as well. My final drill will be a T-bar inspired run. This should be done at high intensity, and this will help improve things such as aerobic endurance, anaerobic endurance, and also leg muscle. All of my drills are showing progression because each drill will get harder and harder. For example, the T-bar run, it will be a longer run. It isn't exactly a T-bar run, it's a T-bar inspired run. However, it will be done for a longer time. And the overload will occur if a lot of progression is there. Finally, my cooldown. My cooldown will be based upon the T-bar run. The first stage will be a walk around the bar, then the second will be dynamic stretching in the legs, and then a walk again. After this, we will be doing some static stretches in the legs. And then also just do a few arm stretches in case due to the passing. This is because the passing would have been done over a long distance as well. I also will ask my session what she thought of my session. After the session is finished, I'll thank my client for coming in, and then I'll ask them what they thought of the session, how they thought it went, and how they're feeling afterwards. And then after this, my client has left, I'll pack everything up and put it away safely where it came from, and this is to ensure that the next person using it can also use it in a safe manner. So here are my client aims again. Here is some evidence of me whilst doing my training session. So here, I am here just walking along the ladder with my client, and my client is there. What I did well is I walked along with my client and kept at the same level as her. Here I'm demonstrating to my client what the wall chest pass will look like. What could have been better is I could have got my client to do it with me. And in the final drill here, I am motivating my client and making sure that she's using the correct technique. So this is what my client thought of the session. My client said that I had a good range of activities and that my demonstrations were clear. This is good because it showed that she enjoyed what I did and that it was very easy for her to continue doing it. However, The weaknesses were that the rest wasn't long enough. This may have been down to the amount of time that I had left. However, she said 30 seconds rest felt more like 15 seconds, and that could have been down to the time limit that was restricting me. Also, some of the drills may have been a little bit too hard for the level of fitness that she was at. This can be hard for the client because if she was expecting she knew it was an SAQ session, if she was expecting something not to be as intense as it was, she may not enjoy it as much. However, other than that, she said it was a very good session and she thoroughly enjoyed it. So these are what I thought my strengths were. So I thought I had clear demonstrations. I motivated my client throughout my session, and I also incorporated a skill into my session by having a passing drill. I liked the fact that I had clear demonstrations. I found this easy. I figured that if it was me doing the session rather than running it, I would want to know exactly what to do and how to do it, and I thought I did that well. I tried to motivate my client throughout the session. By doing that, what I did was I walked along with my client along the ladders, and I stayed at the same height as her if she was doing some stretching. And I incorporated a skill into my session by having a passing drill. And this is good for her sport of netball. And if she is using this passing drill, if she's using the passing length that she does in netball in the session, then it is also helping her fitness and her netball ability. What I thought needed to be improved on. I needed to plan a couple more backup drills to run if one became too hard. For example, my client said she had a small back issue. However, she said this didn't impact her session, but I should have planned for something like this to happen if something like this happened. What I could have done was planned for a bit of an easier session on the hurdles because she said sometimes jumping can cause a few issues with her muscular back issues. What I should have done, planned a different jumping session that has the same effect. I should have taken longer for the rest periods. I shouldn't have planned so many drills and should have said rest is more important as it stops my client from becoming injured. However, I felt my rests were long enough in some cases, some were too short. But however, if some of them were way too short and she went straight to doing another high intensity drill, a serious injury could have occurred. I felt like I needed to simplify some of the drills. This is because some of the drills were quite hard, and sometimes it was quite hard I found it hard to explain them, but that was just down to the simplicity of the drill. Here again are my client aims. I'll now be describing the strengths and weaknesses for my 6-week training program that I wrote for the same client. So for my strengths, I included progressive overload to my client. So for example, one week my client was doing a HIIT session. The next week she was also doing a HIIT. The week after, 2 weeks later, she was doing a HIIT session. However, this HIIT session was done at a higher intensity, and this helps improve progressive overload because something is changing. I also did activities that my client enjoyed. And this is good because if the client isn't enjoying doing the activities that they aren't going to want to do them. So I found that if my client was enjoying what she was doing, she'd be more motivated to actually do the work, put the work in and do well. The areas for improvement. I found that my sessions could have been quite repetitive and I didn't offer much differentiation for each activity, and I should have planned more backup activities in case my client became injured during a session. So my sessions were quite repetitive. I used quite a few HIIT sessions in my training program, and I shouldn't have done this because the HIIT training could have become quite boring and tedium would have taken into effect, and my client might not have enjoyed this. I also didn't offer much differentiation for each activity, as I said before. If I'd have offered differentiation, a larger amount of overload could have occurred, which enables my client to do well and be able to improve her speed across the court and also her vertical jump and lose weight. I should have planned for more backup activities. Some of my activities were quite physically enduring, and if my client had become injured in any of these, it would have hampered her ability to continue doing the training program. So I should have planned for something else to occur. Thank you very much.